Hi guys, Cyclic here. I'm back again with part 3 of my extended antenna mod. I bet you a lot of guys were trying to yell at me at part 2. Hey, wait, you forgot the battery. No, really, I forgot the battery. I was so glad to get the antenna on, and I wanted to get that sucker together. No, we don't need a battery. Battery? What stinking battery? Okay, so we're going to put the battery on. I did want to show you a couple things about the battery. Anyway, nothing special. I just wanted to show you my solder sucker. So, let me get a little more closer with my brilliant camera and do a little battery mounting. Because I did say I was going to do this from start to finish, so I'll do it from start to finish. Didn't want to do a part 3, but here's part 3. So I'm adding a little bit more solder onto the solder pad, or the pads where the battery leads are going to be soldered to. Okay, and I got some good blob of solder there, and here's the little gem right here. This is the solder sucker, and they're not really that expensive. You can get cheaper ones that are more expensive. This one's a little pro model. It was about 20 bucks, a little bit under 20 bucks online, and they work great. What you do is you push that down like that, and you put your tip where you want it, and you hit the button, and it sucks the solder up. So let's see if I can get it to work. Try it. Okay. I need a cameraman, I really do. I need a good camera and a at least I have no control. I have a good camera. Okay, we'll give it a shot. Always get a little bit on your tip, and I've changed to the next size tip, larger, just so it'll hold more solder on the tip, since it's not as fine a work. So, get both tips in position. Touch that, get it hot, and suck. Ooh, wow, that worked really nice. I like these things. So, got one more to go. The reason sucking it off is, as you saw before, it was really spiky. With the solder they use with the manufacturer, it's lead-free solder. They're under restrictions to use that stuff. Here, we still have the freedom to use the leaded solder, which is much better to use, much better to work with. You don't cook everything with the higher temperatures needed to use on lead-free solder. And we're blending them together when we're doing tinning and adding components and taking off components. But if you can remove as much of the lead-free solder and then put a nice dome of the leaded solder, it's really much better. Gives you a better finish, and it just removes the older solder, which is basically burnt and without flux, and when you're trying to go with it, you have to use more of the new solder to apply more flux to get that older solder to want to beat up and melt right, and then what you have is just too much solder on the joint. So we're starting from scratch, which is nicer. You know, you get your basic pad there, so pump it down one more time. Got a little on my tip, get it hot, put it close, and hit the button. Let's try that one more time. I kind of moved, so we'll do that one more time. There, that's good enough. Didn't clean it off quite as well. You know what, I still would like it better. So we'll put another blob on there, pump the thing. Got to get this one right. Oops, gotta hit the button too. Alright, here we go. If I can find the button. There. That one got it good, just like the first one. So now, get our battery, and we're gonna tin the wires on the battery. Let's see, how much am I in the picture? We can back off a little bit, cameraman. And we're going to tin the wires on the end of the battery. And sometimes the wires get a little crooked, so you can just straighten it out. So now we have straight ends on the batteries wires. Okay, I'm going to try to do these ones by hand. Normally I will use a holder too, because I just not as steady as I used to be, and I like it to come out really nice. This is modeling, and when you're modeling, you're not really, in my opinion, you're not doing it for work, and you're not trying to make money, well, at least not this, and you're doing it to have fun and to make stuff look nice. So to me, appearance and quality and workmanship is really good in modeling. It helps improve skills. You get nice models, and it's fun to make things look really good. So I take my time. So we're going to put the black one where it says B negative. And a lot of times it does matter which way you're pointing. Be careful, don't touch your wires together like I almost just did. I think pointing them that way, you want to find a free spot in the board to have the wires lay. Okay, there's one. That one's on there. See, with a nice fresh bead already on there where the flux isn't burnt and your wires pre-tinned, as you see, you just come out with really nice good welds that are still not a big blobby mess. You don't want too much solder on there, so we'll try that one. Touch a little on your tip, touch that. Oops, trying to be too fast. That wire was a little bit crooked, so it's sticking up, but that's good enough. And we're going to position the battery. I forget exactly how it went. So I'm going to take it out of the vise. I'm going to throw the battery in the bottom section, just like that. Okay. You find what works for you. The batteries usually like to fit in a certain way. And then we get these ones like this. Get the wires pushed in there. Make sure they're not being pinched when you screw the shells together. Okay. Well, that is not going to work. Oh, well, it was together before, so it should go together again. I thought that was my wire I did, but that was the motor wire. Okay, well, we're pretty much together there. I'm going to start some screws. It is not as easy to put together once you got the battery to deal with. Once you do get it, oops, careful. There we go. It's just trying to lay the wires in there. Use a little stick, a non-metallic item. I'm going to start this corner screw. Just get it started. Is this even showing up? And always keep in mind these motor wires, these freaking motor wires that like to get pinched, they like to get shorted, and that the makers just don't spend time to put in the right spots. Though I will say that the wires are coming a little bit less messed up than they do sometimes on the CX-10, but this black one right here, one of the wires was directly underneath the motor between one of these motor pedestals, and you know, a couple hard landings and it's gonna pinch that wire off. You know, do at least peel the insulation back and make it weak, and eventually it'll break or something. It's just not good. So now that I got some screws started, I'm looking around making sure it's gonna fit together nice and flat and the wires haven't popped out. So now I'm gonna continue to put them all in. It looks like it's going together okay. Just make sure you're not screwing any wires together or any wires laying in the path of your hole for your screw. That has happened where I screwed a screw through a wire. It was not nice. Had to fix the wire, take it all back apart. So I'm trying to hurry up and get the screws all in, and I'll get all the props on for you, and we will be done. And then I can do a flight vid of this thing. And hopefully it will have as much range as this black one. This black one I can fly out of sight to a land far, far away where it may not return. So you do have to be careful now that you have some range with these suckers, because these babies can go far now, really far. You can chase birds with them. And I am just really, really super impressed how the flight control is approved on these things. The wind does not affect them that much. I mean, you really need some strong wind, and I have been flying them in pretty darn strong wind that my 300 size quads don't want to fly in. You know, that are complaining and flopping around, and this thing is just zipping around, and it will hold its place. It's not like an autopilot, but it will change angle to keep from losing its heading and its head hold. But you know, it does everything we'll do. There we go, we're together. Put some props on. And we'll look at this other one here, which direction the props. I almost got it memorized. Okay, the top one, everything turns from the outside in towards the middle of the copter. So that one will go right there. Oh, that slid on kind of. So then the other blue one goes right next to it. So the way they're spinning is the top right counterclockwise, top left clockwise. So you want the top leading edge of the propeller blade to be the higher than the trailing edge, so it's pushing air downwards. It's the same with this way. And the bottom right spins clockwise, and the bottom left is counterclockwise. Usually the motors opposite of each other spin in the same direction. So this one and this one are spinning in the same direction. This one and this one are spinning in the same direction. And wouldn't you know it, I got my antenna bent. See, that one does bend if you move it around, but it bends right back. And when I crash it, it still usually just stays in the same spot. Amazingly, it doesn't really bend. So there we go. All done. No guards. There you have it, guys, and thanks again for watching, and I will be coming up with the flight test.